I'm going to be adding two more products to my 2014 CanAm Spyder RT Limited. I've got a lot of accessories added to the bike, mostly feature or functional improving performance. But the two products I'm going to be adding is, the first one is a power hub. This is from INNOVV, I think that's how they pronounce their company name. And I bought this one from them because the second product that I want to put on this bike is the K1, which is a front and rear dash cam system. I like taking videos while I ride, and I have mounted here that you might be able to see as a GoPro, and I've had various success with it and been pleased with it to a great degree. But it's got about a 1 hour battery life, about an hour and 14 minutes as it's turned out here lately. And so the other feature I like about the K1 is it powers up whenever you turn the bike on, powers down when you shut the bike down. It will continuously record overriding and user-determined segments of, I think, one every minute, every 5 minutes, or every 10 minutes. It's played out on their, that's all explained on their website. So my preliminary plans are get the power hub installed and then start implementing the installation of the K1. Now I might need to take this installation over a couple of days depending on what kind of connections I determine I'd like to use. I like to install things so that if in the future I have to remove components from the bike to do service or add the other accessories, that I don't have electrical wires that is limiting the removal of an install. So we'll stop it here and we'll be back after we get a little further along with the K1's the Power Hub 1 install. This area, this accessed area right here is currently, when I put in the HID headlights, I put the ballast and its other associated electronics in here, and I think what I'm going to do is look at installing the power hub in this opening, and getting the leads down here to the battery is a lot shorter distance, and this will provide me an easy access to getting to the additional opportunities for powering accessories. And then should I have a problem with fuse on any of those accessory lines, I can should be able to get to them here pretty easily. That's the current plan. Well, we're in the process of removing panels to give us access. Here's the battery, and you can see that there's connectors on there that I have added for the pigtail, and I think the additional wiring, right now I have to double check, trace it back. I've forgotten what that wiring was to support, but I'll be using perhaps the power hub for that. I've removed the mirror. Thankfully, the magic mirror mounts that are available now online, magicmirrormounts.com, makes the mirror removal on the RT a lot easier, simpler, straightforward than it was. These connectors here are for LEDs down here. So middle side panel, top side panel, I'll be removing the fascia here also to have access. So that's my goal. That's where we're at now. there is, you can see that light beaming in through there. There's an opening there that is right behind the positive terminal, more or less, of the battery box area, right back up in this area. So I'm going to be able to pass, as I did with these and had forgotten how I'd done it, these two wires here, I will be able to pass to for the power hub back through there to connect. So I'm going to rig up the ring connectors on those and go ahead and get it prepared and make sure I've got enough, because I'm just going to bring it right up here. Okay, what I've done with some little effort, this flexible wire, actually it's a roll of baling wire I picked up at a farm supply and use all the time, and the hook you can see up here on this end right there, I fished it in through back underneath this direction. Sorry about the camera angles. And then I had a second wire with a hook and brought it up through there. So I'm going to try and set the power hub right here and use this as a fish line to pull the positive and negative down through here, and hopefully it'll be long enough. If it's not, I'll pull it back up out of there and add a little length to it before I put the O-rings on the end, or that's what I'm going to use to bolt them down underneath of the battery connections here. Okay, first problem I see in at placement, where I'm going to put the power hub and then fish this in down to the battery. This 40 amp fuse is going to be inaccessible. It might not even be able to fish it down through the openings that I have there. So the next thing I've got to consider is either hacking this off here, cutting this off, adding an extension at this point, and bring this down to the battery, and inside the battery compartment then have on a short piece out of here have the O-ring and attachment to the battery, so it is down. If this blows, then I can at the battery compartment level access this to replace that 40 amp fuse. So got to think this through a little bit, look at what connectors I have available to make that change, and make sure I either do solders or, I hate crimps, but I think I may have to get some supplies, some hardware supplies at this point as far as proper connectors. Well, after looking at the two additional power lines that was provided, it turns out they're both about 40 inches long. So it's going to be a lot easier. What I want to do is tie these two together for fishing, pull the two leads down by the battery, put ring terminals on them, take up the slack, cut what I need off to wherever this ends up being mounted, and then connecting them here and leave that 40 amp in line. So it's going to be a lot cleaner approach, and I may put connectors in here so that if this front cargo area has got to be removed, that they can be disconnected. Well, when you take it off the battery, take the battery connections off to pull the front cargo area out. More thoughts. Well, here's my method of attaching my ring connectors. Crimped them with this tool, which does a real good job. First, push the wire down into the dielectrics silicon compound, then I put that on there. Now I'm going to put a heat shrink up to it and heat shrink it, and then these will be fished down in and attached to the battery. I'll do the same thing onto the negative side. Okay, there's the wire. Comes up, pops up over here. Okay, and I've got two leads taped that I'm going to put on the battery terminal, and the other end of these I've already, I've got the ring terminals already on them, ready to go. So I'm just going to pull those back up through here and I'll be able to attach them here whenever they're ready to be attached. Get my modules set here in this location, my power hub. Try to give you a better view of exactly where I pulled those up through. It's hard to get light without shadows playing the dickens, but you can see there's a crossbar there and an opening. It's about 3/16 or 1/4 of an inch between two objects when you look down in there, and that's where I pulled them up through there. The view from inside the wheel well, there's the red lead you can see there, and back up in here I think you can see the case, the battery area where they came through, up through behind that wrapped large harness, and then came up through right there. Okay, the installation of the power hub really is complete now. That I haven't done the final mounting and securing of it here in this area, and down in here I just gotta get everything pushed back in, but all the battery connections are made, and I just went through a test to confirm that each of the leads now, this is the ground for the accessories, and on each of those leads I'm showing 15 volts. Well, 14.77 for a 12 volt system, I guess. The trigger that I use, the hookup I use for the trigger, the ignition trigger, so that it would sense it's got a key on, and then it would go ahead and supply the voltage down these accessory lines, is a light green with a gray stripe that's here in the harness. This harness feeds up to the switches that's up here for on your I don't know what they call that, the console area. There's 4 switches up there, and we're checking the schematic on the service manual. This is a switch 12 volts here, so that is where I'll do it. Now what I'll do tomorrow is I'll go ahead and tie these up and clean all this up, but then we'll start the installation of the camera. The one of these leads is what we'll use to supply the camera, and I'll have 4 more remaining for objects in the future. So Power Hub 1 from INNOVV is installed, and we'll move on to doing the K1 camera system tomorrow.